For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans that do not harm you, yet prosper you, give you hope and a future. Hi, my name's Tiffany Hayden, and today I'm going to tell you a story about a young girl who simply loves Jesus. Yet she became hopeless and lost all sight of a future. It started at a young age when she became double-minded, tossed like the waves. She was 8 years old when she was molested for the first time. And then at 13, where she fell in love with an older boy and then became a rape victim. She quickly began to lean towards drinking and partying and anything to just stuff away the pain. At one house, she had to watch domestic violence. Her dad and her stepmom fiercely beating each other. And on the other hand, her mother was too occupied to pay attention. Luckily, she had a grandmother that helped her find her foundation in Jesus, a grandmother that introduced her to the kingdom. Yet she lost sight of this. Yet again, she was very double-minded, so she was warped. She didn't know which way was right and which way was wrong. Although she felt it in her spirit, she didn't know which way to go. At 15, she became pregnant with a little baby boy. She just wanted to be a good mom and to love him and to hold on to him tight, to not let the world corrupt him as it did her. Yet, of course, she graduated high school and she began adulthood. And then at 19, she had another baby, just as sweet as the first one. Yet something happened after this child. Of course, it wasn't the child's fault, but it was that she simply suffered from postpartum depression. And in this depression, she found pain pills 2 days after she came home with her second child, to be exact. She quickly learned that pain pills could change her mood. They could make her happy. They could switch up the game. But she also learned that she had to keep it hidden. So she lived a double life for years where no one knew. But she became very sick and she would hide it. She would pretend like it was nothing. And then one day, she forgot the children at daycare, of all places, where her mother had to swoop in and save the day. But yet she told her that if she couldn't simply get off of the drugs, that she couldn't have her kids back. This girl was very upset. Like, what had she done? She had completely demolished her life, and now her children's life. And then that night was the first time she was introduced to methamphetamines. This was something that took her on a roller coaster ride for years to come. She was in and out of jail, in and out of rehabs, until one day she began to just cry out to the Lord. She wanted to get sober so bad. She wanted her children back. She just wanted to be a mother again. And her own mother began to coach her and to ask her, beg her pretty much, like, could you please just come to church with me? And although her flesh didn't want to, her spirit gave in. And she walked through the doors of that church house with her mother. And in that very moment, although she was saved, she didn't have a relationship with God at the time. But she knows that He heard her cries. She began to worship. She began to run to the front and just worship the Lord. Her flesh pulling back, but her spirit moving forward. And in that moment, she was baptized in the Holy Spirit. It wrecked her world. The laughter, she was slain in the Spirit. She began to just fall on her face. And when she got up, she felt a crazy sense of peace, a sense of peace that is almost hard to explain. But she said it was beautiful. And I'd like to tell y'all that this is the part of the story where she got it all together and completely changed her life, but that wasn't quite the case. because there was a complete spiritual warfare in the church that day, and her flesh wanted so bad to continuously get high, and yet her spirit wanted so bad to continuously seek the Lord. So as she walked out of the church that day, she continued to try to get high, but the spirit was winning. She physically could not. She physically could not get to where she wanted to be. The spirit had won. And the next morning, the Lord had sent in his army, his angels, in the form of police officers to save her life. They then handcuffed her and took her away to jail. She sat back in the back seat of this cop car, just looking out the window, just wondering if this was the end. And luckily it was. I can tell you that that day was the last time that she had ever gotten high. It's the last day that she had used drugs to numb her pain. But as she sat in that jail cell, the Lord just called on her and said, "Teen Challenge." She fought back and forth like there's no way that God really wants her to go away for a year to Teen Challenge. But that's exactly what happened. Because when the Lord calls you to do something, he don't give up. He's persistent, and he will make sure that he sees it complete all the way through until the day of completion. So as she entered into Teen Challenge, she then began to be, her issues began to root out. She began to learn things about herself that she had never learned before. She began to grow and to heal as she surrendered to the Holy Spirit. And that girl that surrendered right there in the commons room, well, that girl was me. That girl was me that was slain in the Spirit and gave her entire life to Jesus. That girl was me. And now I live a life of Christ and for Christ. I've now gained custody of my oldest child back, and I'm working on the second. God is faithful, and he says that he brings your children from the east and you from the west, and together you're there. He believes in restoration, and he believes that you're supposed to be together as a family, as one. And I'm so grateful for what he's doing in my life, that he never gave up on me. I'm grateful that he never seen that I was too far away. He never left me nor forsaken me. And yet here I am with a beautiful hope and an even bigger future than I could have ever imagined. Thank you.